What's going on, guys? It's GBP baby. Welcome back to another video. I hope everybody's doing well, and yeah, let's get straight into things. So we're going to start on the weekly on dollar as per usual. Let's quickly look at what kind of high impact news we do have this week, and my bias is pretty much the same as it has been for the last 2 weeks. I'm wanting to see dollar fill this imbalance. It still hasn't got to the top of it. It's got very close to it, as you can see last week, but we still haven't quite traded to it yet, so I am looking for this to be reached. We have high impact news on Thursday with jobless claims, and also on Friday as well with PMI. So I'm expecting the end of the week to be inauguration day. I forgot about that. Mr. Trump will be let back into office. So I don't know how Monday's going to be. I've never traded an inauguration day, so I'm not really gonna. I don't want to speak too much, but nonetheless, if it is volatile, it should be quite interesting for us. But nonetheless, I'm looking for us to fill this fair value gap, as I'm sure you know. And then I've also got my eyes set on this bearish order block as well. So let's just get these marked out. So we've got a weekly bearish order block right here. And also, I'm getting complaints that my mic is quiet, but I know for well it's not, because I do check my videos before I post them and once they're posted. So I'm not sure if it is that bad. Do let me know, but I don't think it shouldn't be quiet. And then this is the top of a weekly fair value gap. So we got a weekly FVG high right here. So this is where I'm expecting price to continue to draw towards. In terms of the lowest I'd want to see price trade next week, it's definitely going to, I am looking at this wick, and as far as I'm concerned, the very lowest I'd want to see price trade is going to be the 50% level of that. So let's get that delineated as well. We'll extend the lines right, and then 50% level is right here. And as far as I'm concerned, price shouldn't need to or be able to drop any lower than this level right here. So let's get this marked out as wick weekly consequent encroachment. Right, and centered. And I'm also going to thicken that up. So any lower than this, and I will be a little bit suspicious of price, because remember, I'm expecting an up close week, and this will be where this is the very lowest I'd be happy for price to trade. And ideally, if it's going to create the low, this is the lowest. It doesn't mean it needs to go there. It just means it's the lowest. Like, that's my last barrier before I want to see, for me to remain bullish on dollar. Let's go to the daily, and you'll see we had a very large day on Friday, starting to work our way up towards the weekly fair value gap. We took out these relative equal highs. We've closed above some significant imbalances. Now, these imbalances I called out last week. If you watched last week's video, you'll remember me speaking about these imbalances last week's videos. So it's nice to see that we traded into that and we've left them now. So technically, these imbalances are they're fair. We should treat them as fair value gaps. So realistically, I'm now looking at this as like an inversion fair value gap, because we've filled it on the downside and now we've closed above it on the upside. So although I've got this as the last barrier for me from the weekly, ideally this would be the very lowest, and I do believe that's what, like 25%. Let's see what the 25% level is saying. So I reckon that's pretty much the same. Yeah. So that's 25% level, and the 25% level of wicks is also just as significant. So that is quite interesting to see how that lines up, and it's always good to have layered confluences and layered PD arrays when building biases. So that's just something to consider. And let's now drop down to the 4 hour and take a closer look, and you'll see how we have had our expansion above it. And yeah, it's looking, to be honest, to me, it's just looking awfully bullish. I'd like to think that we can create the low at this 25% level and then expand and start looking for this high to get targeted and this high up here to get targeted. So yeah, there's not really much for me to say. We should look for a breaker, because as far as I'm concerned, if we're rallying, then price should be able to return back to some kind of consolidation, and that would be the last up close candle before the down move, and that we have right here. And you'll see that the high of it happens to be that 25% level. Look at that. So we have a low, we have a high, we have a lower low, and then after this low, price only manages to trade on to the upside and run out these beautiful relative equal highs. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the breaker, and I'm looking at this last up close as support. So moving into Monday and Tuesday, where I'd expect the low to be created, I'm happy for price to drop early in the week to create the low, and then I want to see it turn around and then we can start looking to trade to our buy side liquidity pools here. And then we also have here as well. And then that weekly fair value gap high as a target. So that's pretty much everything on dollar. There's honestly not much for me to say. If we drop, what happens if we drop below this range, this imbalance? If we drop below that, then I won't be happy, and it's likely we are on the wrong side and price will run for these lows. But I doubt price is going to do that. And the reason I doubt it is because of things like this. And I think this might be, I think we might be able to look for divergence here. But you see how we've tagged this low? We failed to take out this low. Excuse me. The fact that we failed to take out this low is showing a relative strength. It's like sponsorship. And I was talking about this in the live stream earlier. Look at this bullish order block and look at how price has found support on it here. It's found support on it here, failing to take out this low. So we're seeing a willingness for price to want to go higher. It's refusing to take out any lows, and we're considering seeing higher prices. And you can see that also here as we ran out these stops here. So I want to see expansion, and for us to run to our target up here. So that's everything on dollar. I hope that will make sense. Obviously, we'll see what happens after tomorrow. Again, this is my first time trading inauguration days. I'm guessing it's going to be quite volatile. I don't know. But generally speaking, that's what I'm expecting. Let's head on to GBP USD and take a closer look. And we'll start on the weekly here as well. Now, obviously, if we're expecting an up close week on the dollar, that means you want to see a down close week on pound. So where could pound be possibly trading to? Well, we have some beautiful sell side liquidity below here. So let's get that marked out. That's our, in terms of targeting. Now, unfortunately, there's no weekly imbalance like what we saw on dollar to trade to. However, gaps are, wicks are gaps too. And to be honest, I am looking at this long wick right here. And I reckon that there's an imbalance laying in there somewhere on low time frame. So let's get this marked out. We'll mark out the 50% level. And this will be a nice target for price. And then in terms of the highest I want to see price trade, we do have a fair value gap up here in the premium. But that should be able to stay open. As in, I'd rather not see that get traded to. Because that would be very significant if that stays open. I don't want to see price trade into it because it shouldn't need to. If we're bearish, then fair value gap should be in the premium, should be left open, meaning that we can look at the wick similar to what we did on dollar and mark out the same things, 50% level and 25% level. But mainly I'm going to focus on that 50% level. And then we've got our south side here, and then we're going to look for PD arrays inside this range. So here's the daily, and you can see large expansion closing below these. And as soon as Friday took out this low, that then allows this to become a bearish order block. So that means we can look at the open off this price, and it should act as a bearish order block in that price should react to it. So if we retrace into that, maybe to create the high of the week or something off that, that should just act as a bearish order block. So let's get that marked out. It's daily. Bearish order block, and we know once price is above that or inside of that or taps it, we should be able to get a strong reaction away from it. And coupled with that is an inversion fair value gap right here. So if we look at this low to this high, look at how price beautifully filled it and then left it. So when we return to this, we expect resistance. So that's another reason I'd want to see price turn if it's going to rally, and it should rally to an extent to create the high of the week. That's where I'd want to see it turn. So that's everything there. And then obviously, like I said, we have our relative equal lows that we're trading towards. Let's go to the 4 hour. And then again, we can start looking for the breaker. Now it looks to me like this is the breaker. We got high, low, higher, high as we ran stops into this bearish order block, rejection block level, and then price is trading lower. Now we haven't quite taken out this low. So not until we take out these lows would I be happy to use this as a breaker. However, as price is trading through breakers, it's safe to go short inside of it. As in, if we're anticipating this to be the breaker block, we should be safe to, short inside of it because we anticipate it to be. And when price returns to it, it should find resistance, trade lower. So that's something to take into consideration. That doesn't mean go short. It just means that, we're currently inside the breaker, and we can consider that. You can see how we wicked up and filled this fair value gap and left it again. I like that it's filling it. I like that it's, managed to wick up, fill this premium imbalance and leave it. it's showing a willingness to go lower. So that's supportive of our bias. Let's go to the 1 hour. And you can see we ran stops. I love when we see highs like that get taken and tagged and fair value gaps. You know, look at how volume's staying below these levels. Like, we've got to appreciate all of this to understand that we are likely going to see a continuation to the downside. And maybe after dollar reaches its premium, we can start thinking about potential reversals. But we need to get there first. And obviously we have this inauguration thing. So that's everything on pound. I don't want to make it too messy. And we'll look at the 15-minute and all these lower time frames at a later point. But generally speaking, I want to see if we can get down to this level. And I'm expecting it to run quite nicely in terms of how it delivers there. Nice little breaker here, but like I said, we've tapped into it a few times. And this is that. What level is that again? The bearish order? That's the bearish order block, isn't it? Yeah, daily bearish order block. So something to consider. So that's everything on pound. There's really not much for me to say. Although I want a down close, if price moves fast Monday to Tuesday or Wednesday, if price moves fast enough down, so if we get here by Tuesday or Wednesday, then I'd expect a reversal. So there's some weeks when we move awfully fast to my target. So although I'm targeting this for the week, we might get here on Monday or Tuesday based off the high impact news. And if that's the case, then we're likely going to have a midweek reversal, being Thursday or Wednesday. And then we'll see large expansion for the rest of the week. And that's still completely possible. So although I'm approaching with wanting a down close week, it's not the end of the world if we get to the target before, say, Wednesday, and then we change and say, okay, it's possible we might have an up close because we're entering a strong reversal. So these are things to consider. But generally speaking, right now, I'm looking for a down close. So I'm happy to see slight rallying, but overall, I'm looking for us to get down here. Also, we should remain bullish until proven otherwise, and dollar. So like, there's no reason we should remain bullish, as in to our target, until proven otherwise. Has any of this downwards price action proven otherwise? No. Why? Because anytime we come down into a discount, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Excuse me. Anytime we come down into a discount of the range. Anyway, my point is this 50% level. Anytime we come down to it, look what happens. Price leaves it straight away. Price leaves it straight away. Price leaves it. It doesn't want to be down here. So it's going to keep hunting premium until we get a reversal. So we should remain bullish until proven otherwise. Let's finish up on Euro USD. You can imagine what I'm going to say. Let's go to the weekly. In fact, we didn't see if there was any PD arrays in our over here. Yes, there's a fair value gap. I thought so. Excuse me. So there's a fair value gap right here. We will mark this out. And it's on the 4 hour and it's below our south side liquidity pool. So although we've got a low as a target, it'll be nice to see if we can fill this imbalance, which is also at the 50% level of that wick I was talking about. So you see how PD arrays are like, they're like clues as to where the PD arrays are like clues to more PD arrays on lower time frames. Here's your USD. We'll start on the weekly. We'll start on the weekly, and you can see we had an up close week, but we're looking to, similar to dollar, we're looking to fill this imbalance. Where? Here's the low of the imbalance. We haven't quite traded to it yet. And then there's also a breaker. Low. This last up close candle, low, high, lower, low. So you can see that lines up nicely with that as well, which is quite interesting, isn't it? As in, if we're expecting a reversal on dollar, you know, we can expect a reversal here as well because we have a breaker. So there's reason as to why we want to see price manage to reach down into this heavy discount. So that's our target. What's the highest we want to see price trade? Same thing. I'm looking at last week's wick pretty much. I don't really want to see it take out last week's high. I just want to see continued downwards price action. So let's get that 50% level of the wick marked out. We'll make it red and dashed. And then, actually we should make a different color because I used that for the Sunday opening price. And then I'll be targeting the low as south side liquidity for more near term. Because don't get me wrong, although it's a target down here, it is an awfully long way and it would have to have a massive week. But again, I don't know how. And if you look at this, and if you look at how the weeks like this are our biggest, right? So if we drag that down, it is possible to have a week that big. It's just rare. We had a week that big here. We had a week that big here. Maybe here. So it is possible to have weeks that big. It's just rare. But but it's doable is my point. So that's just something to consider in terms of range. And now let's go to the daily. Same thing. I like how we've taken out this high here. I don't expect price needs to come back up there. We haven't quite taken out these lows, but I'm expecting that. And then remember, we're looking for that south side liquidity to get traded to. So there's not really much here on the daily. Something to consider though, we've traded into fair value gaps, tapped into it once, then 50% level, and now we've left it both times. So went, look at that. You can't tell me that's not algorithmic, guys. Anyway, go on the 4 hour. And you can see I like the fact that we're taking out that high. And then there's a beautiful fair value gap down here in the discount as well, for more near term. We might even reach that on Monday, depending on when this inauguration. Yeah, it's all day, isn't it? Not 12 o'clock. Yeah, see, I have no clue. But nonetheless, breaker, high, low, higher, high, displacement. So we're looking at this last down close candle that should act as resistance. Price shouldn't be able to get back above it. When I say shouldn't, it means I don't want to see it go back above it. If it does, whole different story. We're on the wrong side of the market. It's probably going to trade higher. Simple as. But if it doesn't, we should be able to stick to our guns, stick to our bias. And we know that we want to see the fair value gap get traded to and through. We want to see this get traded to and through. And then we want to see if it can fill the imbalance down here and then potentially offer us a reversal later on in the week. Relative equal lows. But if euro stays in heavy consolidation, it might not even be able to get to the sell side, and we might find that dollar, as it trades up into its heavy premiums, we might find that euro struggles and it simply only trades into here. In fact, we should probably look at euro pound. You can see there's a lot of strength on euro recently. Look at that. Yeah. Wow. So if we see continued strength on euro pound, it's very possible that euro... Bear with me, guys. It's very possible that euro doesn't even reach these lows. Doesn't even reach these lows and nowhere near this low. So that's something to consider, and that's why we should keep an eye on euro pound in conditions like these. The last thing I want to show is divergence, because these are divergence is really useful in times like these. So if we add GBP, we add euro dollar, sorry. And what you'll find, where is it? There is definitely divergence. I forgot where I saw it now, though. Okay, yeah. So, because of euro strength, euro took out this high here. Pound fails to take out this high here. And dollar fails to take out this low. Just about, but it failed. Take out this low here. So what does that mean? Strength on pound. GBP is behaving because it's failing to take out its high and it's very weak, as you can see. But euro's doing its own thing and taking out stops, so there's a lot of strength, and we see that reflected here. You see this reflected in euro strength. You see how euro's been able to trade higher, and you can see how that's been reflected here because it's been able to take out stops. So something to consider, but we'll talk more on this next week. So that's going to be everything, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like, drop a comment, smash subscribe, join the mailing list, and I'll catch you guys. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. And now, if I don't catch you guys tomorrow, it'll be Tuesday. And the reason it might not be tomorrow is because I'm at a hotel and the upload speeds are terrible. But do join the Discord. I'll be active in there and I'll see what I can do. So yeah, that's everything, guys. Peace.